cause, the State Department, the White House, and Congress, with Senator Scott, one of 100 senators who worked tirelessly for this cause, are more than sure his voice and his vote are essential in extirpating factors that in Venezuela oppress our people and put at risk the security and stability of Latin America, the Caribbean, and the Western Hemisphere. Right now, I'd like to introduce our president of Casa Venezuela, which is an organization that serves as a local voice and point of reference for Venezuelan citizens in the city, our friend and leader, Norma Camero Reno.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. I would like to mention and call for you to be recognized, the members of Casa Venezuela Tampa Bay. Please stand up to be recognized. Párense para que sean reconocidos los miembros de la Casa Venezuela Tampa Bay. Gracias. Thank you for your work. Senator Scott has always been on our side, on the side of justice. He knows very well the economical and political situation of Venezuela. He fights for human rights, he fights for freedom and democracy, and for the release of political prisoners. Senator Scott is against Maduro dictatorship, and he recognizes Juan Guaidó as the legitimate interim president of Venezuela. In the name of Casa Venezuela Tampa Bay, I would like to express my appreciation for the opportunity to meet with you and listen to what you have to say about Venezuela. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Well, most importantly, thanks for hosting us. thanks for being here. It's first off, as we all know, the situation there is terrible. It's terrible that Maduro's still in power. It's terrible that these 90% of the families don't have enough money for food. 80% of the kids under 5 have malnutrition. Millions of people have had to flee Venezuela, at one time a very prosperous country. I guess at one time they had the highest GDP per capita in South America. And what Chavez started and Maduro's even taken is this socialism. It just hurts everybody. I mean, the one thing about socialism is everybody's in bad shape at the end. So I went to the White House along with Marco Rubio and Mario Diaz-Balart and asked him to recognize Juan Guaidó. And I think the White House did a good job organizing what the White House did, but also countries around the world, democracies around the world that recognized Juan Guaidó. That was a real high. That's a positive, but Maduro's still there. So what I reached out to the president to do is do the sanctions on the oil to try to make sure there's no money getting to Maduro. So hopefully he'll lose the support of the military, which is the key right now. So that's happening, but it's going to take a while for that to take effect. So, I guess the positive right now is the military is sitting on the sidelines. The negative is the thugs from Cuba are terrorizing the country and defending Maduro. I think we got to keep all the options on the table. It's frustrating that we have these humanitarian effort down there that can't get in. I talked to President Duque about 3 or 4 weeks ago, right after the bombing in Bogota, and he brought up the issue of ELN being in Venezuela and Cuba. And I know President Duque is going to be in D.C. I talked to his chief of staff last week. He's going to be in D.C. this week. I'm going to continue to reach out to Treasury to make sure that they actually impose the sanctions. Because what you never hear, you hear the sanctions on individuals being put in effect, but you never hear anybody being stopped, right? So we got to learn more about that. But I'm basically here to hear about ideas you have, what else we can do to take care of the Venezuelans in Venezuela that need our Colombia, whatever that we can do, but also the Venezuelans here in Florida. I've talked to Kristen Nielsen about trying to accelerate so people can get their political asylum that are here. And so I know I got asked by TV earlier on TPS. So one thing that's been frustrating is I've dealt with TPS a lot with regard to Haitians, and the federal government doesn't fix anything. they never, you know, they don't fix things, and so I'm going to try to get that done. So, but I'm here basically to listen to your ideas.
We have quite a few questions here. Who would like to start with a question?
Senator, first, my name is Federico. I'm from Venezuela, an American citizen. And the first thing I want to say is thank you for your help and welcome to Tampa. And the second thing is, when are we going to see you running for the White House? I think you are one of the most qualified politicians now in Washington, new blood, new ideas, and we are sort of tired of the old Washington style. We want to see new people running for office. So if you ever attempt to run, we're going to help you.
Absolutely.
I can speak on behalf of everybody here.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of stuff we have to get done up there, though. It's pretty. I've been up there, I think 5 or 6 weeks now. It's pretty frustrating that we're not solving problems.
Well, the third thing that I want to ask is, I talked yesterday with my followers in Venezuela. I'm in Twitter a lot, have thousands of followers, and I asked them the question. I mean, what would you ask Senator Rick Scott tomorrow in the breakfast? And unanimously, everybody said, what happens if Maduro does not cave in, the military does not take him down? How long are we going to wait? Because the problem is there's no gasoline in the country. They cannot produce it because socialism
killed it already.
Yeah. So they cannot import it, and there's the food.
They won't allow in humanitarian effort.
Yes.
There's medicine.
It's a box.
There's no food.
So how long the Venezuelan people need to wait before we start dying in groves? Because maybe we're going to have, maybe 10 million people will lose their life, like in Rwanda, because the international community doesn't understand that we're facing a band of thugs, criminals, common criminals, like Lex Luthor, Superman. They took over a country, and now they don't want to release it. So,
good question.
Please ask from the president, send the army. If you need Venezuelans in the army, we'll go first. We will land first and we'll die first. No problem. Just let us know. We're ready.
Well, I know the president said all the options are on the table. I was with Vice President Pence a week and a half ago down in Miami. We had a meeting, a round table, and he reiterated that all the options are on the table. So I'm continuing to be vocal to tell the president he's got to. It's a couple of things. You've got to do everything you can to get Maduro to step aside peacefully. But then if he doesn't, you've got to be willing to do whatever it takes to get him. People are dying. I mean, he's a thug. It's disgusting what he's doing. I have grandchildren, and so you always internalize everything. And I just can't imagine a child being born today in Venezuela with not having the right food or the right medicine to survive. And you see the pictures of all these malnutrition kids, and your heart goes out to them. But I think the big thing is all of us have to be vocal that we want our government to do everything possible to make sure Maduro steps aside.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any other question? Evelio?
Yeah, Evelio?
Yeah, I have a question. Sir, I'm Puerto Rican, and